Damn. I've been a dad for 18 months now. They haven't taken away my dad license yet. It's definitely a thing. You can read all the books, you can talk to all the people, you can have pets, you can have a job, you can do all these things to prepare yourself. But there's definitely a difference between knowing and understanding, right? She's been very healthy. She's been very normal. Nothing really bad has happened. She hasn't injured herself. She hasn't shown herself to have any sort of um, developmental challenges or delays or anything like that. So we're very fortunate in that. But it is a struggle just to be a normal parent. So it is a marathon. It never goes away. There's never a break. There is never a timeout. There is never anything like that. Um, in some ways, it definitely focuses your life to the things that are probably the most important and bats away some of the things that weren't as important and just filled out your time. Like, I mean, that makes sense, right? When you only have so much time, you're going to concentrate on the things that you like the most and not the things that you kind of like. Um, so yeah, on the on the chores level, like there's the diapers, which it's not that bad, right? Like it's just some other thing that you get used to, like it's poop and pee. If you have disposables, they hold way more pee than you would ever believe. You just throw them away. Who cares? We have reusable diapers, which have saved us a lot of money in the long haul. They don't hold as much. You just got to change it more. And we have like a little bidet sprayer or whatever to clean them up, to clean them out. Really not that big a deal. Like I work as a zookeeper, and whatever my child could create is not nearly as gross and disgusting as 40 pounds of rhino crap or like a single jaguar turd. Like it's really not that bad. I think actually, you know what? The poop is overrated in its smell. Um, Reusable diaper, urine diaper that's been sitting on the bottom for like 2 days. Really underrated bad smell. Like sometimes I think my sense of smell isn't that great, but when I'm putting those things in the laundry machine and get to the bottom, like oh yeah, yeah, the nose definitely still works. But it's not really just not just diapers. It's like you got to feed them all the time. You got to do the diapers and cleaning up after the messes and the dishes and all these other things, all these new chores on top of the things that you're used to. And it's surprising like how much that takes up of your time. And teaching the child stuff and making sure they don't fall down the stairs on a daily basis. Like especially now, she she's very smart. She can get into all sorts of things. She can climb and run and scream at the cats and open doors. And she's like a little velociraptor, basically. She's like learning stuff all the time. So um, you're having to keep up with her to make sure all the cat food's not on the floor, or she's gotten into the trash, or she's eating the tissues, or whatever. So that part is definitely something I didn't fully comprehend of just how much you'd be running ragged all the time and forget like things that you thought you'd have time for when it comes to like a large project setting. Like you're just trying to keep the ship afloat and going. You don't have time to build a rocket engine to stick to the back of that ship and have it zoom across the ocean or dive underneath or anything like that. Like we had things that we thought we would be able to do or accomplish with an infant or a young child that were probably like super naive. And I'm not talking like we drove to Connecticut and back to Indiana, southern Indiana, um, with a 5 month old, and that was interesting, but we pulled it off. I'm talking more like Like, we didn't finish her room by the time she was born. And we were like, oh, we'll get to it. And like, I mean, we work on it sometimes, but at the moment it is above me and it is still a construction site. It's a much further along construction site than when she was born, but it's just hard to get any sort of like additional project thing done. Maybe when she's older, maybe when we don't have to constantly run around and make sure that she's not getting into things, or I mean, she likes to help at this point, but sometimes helping is not the most efficient way of doing things, and maybe sometimes even goes backward from where you're trying to go. So that is definitely a thing. I would recommend, if you were planning on having a kid, have any large projects done before they are born. You have to relax at some point when the child is being processed, I guess you could say, and especially for the mother's health or whatever. But finish the room. Holy crap, finish the room. Do any large project thing you were trying to do. Maybe fix your car. That's what we're stuck on right now. I would definitely do those things if you wanted to travel easily. Like, you can travel. I can travel no problem with child. It's just, there's things I have to do in order to make sure that doesn't suck. So, in fact, I may as well say it right here. Our strategy for traveling with our child: driver in the front seat, kid in the back seat with the with the car seat, other parent back there to entertain and communicate with that child. Because look, somebody told us it was easy to travel with a very young child. That is bullshit. Like, all the arguments they gave, like, oh, when they're older they'll argue with you. It's like, I mean, a 5-month-old argues with you. It just mostly screams and you can't understand it. Basic rules for traveling with an infant. Have someone in the back to entertain them. If that kid is asleep, do not stop for anything. Don't only stop if you have to go to the bathroom or you're about to die of hunger or thirst. When that kid is asleep, that is your only like or hour and a half of whatever of peace and quiet on the road. So definitely just go. Uh, my other rule would be, if you're gonna stop, do all the things. Change the diaper, feed everybody, go to the bathroom, whatever. All the things. All the things. Um, I guess my third rule would be, at a certain point at night, the child is just going to cry. You can't stop every 20 minutes. And we tried that and it sucked and we never got anywhere. So you just have to go. It's going to suck. They will fall asleep eventually, or you'll get there. One of the two. Now, when it comes to things falling off because you don't have enough time to do things, stuff definitely fell off in my life. I continued to do things that were more important to me. I continued to write. I continued to play video games. I continued to make Legos. I continued to spend time with my family, obviously. Things that fell off. Well, making YouTube videos was one of them. Obviously, it's been like 18 months since I made a YouTube video. And that's kind of because it becomes harder. There are times in the day where child is awake, and there are times in the day where child is asleep. What I am doing right now doesn't really work with either of those because, we don't want her on camera because, God, there's some weird people on the internet, and she needs to make the choice that she's going to be on the internet. So I'm not making that choice for her, so she's just not going to be on the internet. Um, that fell off. Wrestling kind of fell off, actually. I don't know if it was the quality of WWE, but there was a certain point where I realized I just wasn't watching anymore. It's hard to watch those shows, especially the pay-per-views, when they've made them like, God, 4 to 8 hours, depending on if it's WrestleMania or not. You just don't have the time of the day for all that, especially if the writing was bad or the shows were bad or whatever. You just weren't into it. Like, I just didn't have that much interest anymore. So I dropped the network. I think those are the main things. Still play Magic, all that stuff. I haven't really got to see any movies very often. Um, we don't really have anyone that could take the kid at a moment's notice. My parents just moved closer, so that's a little more possible now. But for a while, it was pretty much just us with the kid all the time. So movies didn't happen, especially since camera woman gets migraines from them. So, and I'm just leaving them by myself to go watch a movie, I guess. So that dropped off. But that is parenting at 18 months. It's been a marathon. It's great. It's tiring. I guess it's what you'd expect when it comes to everything everyone has ever said about parenting. Rewarding, challenging, challenging, rewarding.